This whole breathwork practice began with the teaching, let every in-breath be thank you, and every out-breath be I love you. And I don't know exactly where that came from. I tried to find it again, because I originally thought it came from A Course in Miracles, but I haven't been able to find it since I started looking for it. So if any of you guys ever find that, let me know where it's from. But when that teaching passed through my awareness, I just kind of gravitated to it. I was like, wow, that's so simple and so powerful. I wonder what it would be like to actually live that way. And so I began to practice this in my meditations and explore it. And exploring this concept through meditation is what turned into this whole breathwork practice, because the more that I did it, the more that I learned both how to do it more effectively, all the different things you can do with it. It just keeps coming. I mean, I keep learning new stuff about it, even, to a couple days ago. So the basis of it is that we are constantly emitting energy from just our being, and our thoughts and our feelings form that energy as it leaves our body. And if we are thinking positive thoughts and love, and we're focused on love, we can have a very positive effect on everything around us. And if we are lost in confusion and thinking very negative thoughts, it can have a negative impact on things around us. I mean, I'm sure that you've experienced this even in, conversations and discussions with your own family. If you, kind of react harshly or snap, it just instantly changes the energy of the whole conversation. And that's part of this as well. It's just a more direct section of it. So all of this and everything that I say tonight is something that, probably, I don't think, anyways, it's all stuff that I hold true personally. And what I mean by that is, whenever, you hear information or new ideas or whatever, you can kind of take that into your heart space and feel for the truth of the words and the message. And so, I encourage all of you to do this tonight because, we all have our different perspectives and some things may not be as much for you. So just, especially if you find it challenging, take it into your heart space or just kind of feel for the truth in the message. Okay, so step one. Mine's written a little bit differently because I rewrote it, but you can read along too. While meditating, breathe in and out through your heart chakra, which is the center of your chest. And we'll talk about it first and then we'll do it. Focus on the words thank you while breathing in and on the words I love you while breathing out. Be a witness to everything that happens in your heart chakra as you breathe. Do this until you start to recognize the feeling of gratitude behind the words thank you and the feeling of love behind the words I love you. So this is kind of a multi-prong approach to learning to feel this energy. Because what we're going to do is we're trying to feel the love energy inside of our heart space. Now, holding the words in your mind later on in step 2 and beyond will drop the words. But at this point, holding the words in your mind helps to quiet the mind because it gives your mind something to do by just holding on to the words, but it doesn't allow it to roam too far, right? Because you're kind of just holding it there. And the point is to not be in your mind in this exercise. What we do want to focus on is anything that's happening in your heart space. So your heart chakra is in the center of your chest. And what I mean by be a witness is as you're breathing and as you're holding those words in your mind, use your awareness to just take everything in. Everything that's happening in your body, everything that's just going on internally at all, just use your awareness to kind of absorb that. And don't pay as much attention to anything external as well. So what we're looking for is to try and feel the energy inside, okay? To me, meditation is a way to practice focusing on your internal world, anything inside of your body. And to me, I found meditation challenging at first because I had a hard time getting out of my mind and I didn't know what the purpose was. As soon as I started to feel, as Eckhart Tolle puts it in The Power of Now, great book, we'll probably bring it up a little bit more later. But he mentions feeling the aliveness in your body. And when you do, every cell has this activity, this aliveness, as he describes it. And so feeling that is my focus of meditation. Let's see if I have a little bit more. Okay, so here we go. If you don't mind, I'm going to read a little bit of this. This is kind of the start of kind of what I'm putting together for the book for this practice. But I'll just read it a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. Meditation is a way to practice focusing on your internal world. People at this time are largely consumed with their thoughts. It's a constant barrage that leaves little opportunity to listen to anything else. This experience is similar to being in a large, noisy area, such as a gathering or event, one that has people talking and music in the background. Now imagine trying to listen to an important video or phone call on your phone in that large, noisy space. It would be extremely difficult to hear anything at all, and you would want to listen again in a quieter space to make sure you didn't miss anything. The large, noisy area is the external world, and our minds chatter about it. The important message on your phone is Source trying to speak to you through your internal connection. While the constant mind chatter is present, it is difficult to hear any messages at all, let alone important ones. Meditation is creating a quiet space within your body and your awareness so that you can receive the messages that are being sent to you. I struggled with understanding meditation when I first began. Our awareness is so used to being in our mind that it's an unfamiliar process for most of us to place it anywhere else. And in this case, we're placing it in our body. While you practice step 1, you will be placing your attention within your heart space. As you focus your awareness on the center of your chest and bear witness to everything that happens there, it pulls your awareness out of your mind. As you practice this, you will begin to feel the mental chatter lessen, and you will become more aware of the energy that is constantly flowing through your body. Staying focused on the energy flowing through your heart space has many benefits that will unfold as you deepen your practice. Just know that it won't come instantly. It may be difficult at first to stay focused, and that's okay. If your mind wanders, don't admonish it. Don't, get frustrated. Just accept that it happened. Know that it's simply a part of your journey, and consciously return your focus to your heart. I do mean your heart chakra energy center, the center of your chest, and not your physical heart, which is to the side. So as you have your awareness in your body and are focusing and witnessing it, it is the center of your chest. And it doesn't have to be, like one spot. It can be the whole thing, the whole center. But we will potentially also explore placing our awareness elsewhere while doing this breathwork exercise, because it's not tied to the heart. That's just the best way to learn it and to start feeling the energy. Because the actual effect that I have noticed of using the thanks love breath, which is the first breath, on your second page of your sheet, you can see there are other breaths to use, and each breath has its own effects as well. The main effect of the thanks love breath is that it increases energy and elevates your mood, and especially when you focus on your heart, because you are in essence thanking and loving your heart, which is the portal to which love energy comes into your body, your energy system. Well, one of them. To start, you're just holding the words in your mind, and you're not thinking about the things that you love. You're just witnessing your heart space. But as you start to feel the energy, then we can move on to different things. because sending love to the world is a very good way to do it. But you can send love to anything. So you can, for example, when I do card readings, this is actually how I charge my deck, is I do the thanks love breath and I thank it and I send it love energy. The interesting thing about love energy, just to throw it out there, is that when you really get down to it, this entire existence, everything that we know, everything that is in the known universe and beyond, all exists and is made up of love energy, and is just in different forms. So as you really kind of tap into this, it is useful for so many different things. I feel like I've only begun to explore, to be honest. That's a great question. I've seen a lot of other breathwork techniques where they have very specific. This one is a little bit more intuitive. And when I practice this at every day, it can be done in any way. So oftentimes I'll breathe in my nose and out my mouth, or in and out my nose, just kind of whatever works. And I breathe as slowly as I can comfortably, but there's no like set pace. There's no, you don't need to do counts or anything, because I've seen that in other breathwork stuff too. There's not really any of that. It just helps to do it as slowly as you can comfortably, because you can really just feel each moment that energy is changing. It really speaks to kind of the intuitive nature of this idea, because again, what we're doing is we're just connecting with our own energy. And so if you find, as you're doing it, if you find, oh, it feels like this works a little bit, go for it. There's nothing wrong in exploring and trying things out. Yes, that's another breath. Just be can be one of the best ones. Be, when you just use it as the in-breath and the out-breath, which is not actually on the sheet, but with that breath, for me, I have found that if I just focus on existing, that's all you have to do. If you just exist and just be yourself, the universe is actually showering us with love. And that's all you have to do in any given moment, and you're okay. Any other questions before we try step one? These are all great. Thank you guys. So for just a little bit, we'll just play it by ear. We'll close our eyes, breathe in and out as slowly as we are comfortable doing. As you breathe in, hold the words thank you in your mind while just witnessing your heart space and everything that goes on there. As you breathe out, hold the words I love you in your mind and just witness everything in your heart space. Okay. All right, and let's open our eyes again. How did that go? Did you guys feel the energy in your body at all? Do you have questions? Being that we all come from source, we're all, and the whole teaching is about we're all one. In a way, as you feel the love energy inside, that is the energy from source. And since we are a part of source and source is a part of us, it is your energy in a lot of ways. If you are starting to feel the energy, one thing that we're probably going to do later too, but you can do a little bit on your own, is that this is in many ways focusing on gratitude and sending love is in many ways like playing a game of energy catch with source. So source is always sending us love constantly. And so when we are breathing in and we're accepting all of that and we're focusing on gratitude, it's like we're taking that energy in. And then when we breathe out I love you, it's like we're throwing the ball back. And so there's this very personal experience that can be had between just you and source, playing this game of energy catch. So if you feel so inclined, you can start to explore some things like that as well. There's a lot to it. Okay, let's go for a little bit longer. All right, let's close our eyes one more time. And as we breathe in, focus on the words thank you. And as we breathe out, focus on the words I love you. And witness your heart space. How did this time go? Did you guys feel any more? And the interesting thing about this, I don't know, tool, I call it a tool because that's how I use it throughout the day, is that it's so combinable with everything else. Like, I haven't come across an activity yet that I can't do this at the same time. And I don't know if it's, because I practice it a lot, but once you get a feeling for up to step 2, and we'll talk about that now, but you can start to do it more in the background, and it can just kind of be this passive thing that you're doing with your breath. So if I'm, sitting in traffic, or just waiting a few minutes, or even talking to someone, especially in a difficult conversation, I'll oftentimes remember about this and start doing the breath. And if you're driving, it makes it much more pleasant, and plus you get a lot more body and present moment awareness, because that's actually another thing real quick that placing your awareness within your body does, is it brings you into the present moment more. And I don't know if you guys have done much learning about that yet, the now moment, but we can cover that as well. But it's one of the huge benefits of this exercise. So step 2, just so we can have that in mind as we go forward. This one, the main difference, and it starts off very similarly because the activity is very similar to step 1. I just want you guys to know where we're going with this though. It says, while meditating, breathe in and out through your heart chakra, center of your chest. Focus on feeling the feeling of gratitude while breathing in, and the feeling of love while breathing out. Notice there's a sort of frequency to the emotions. Over time, bring that frequency more into your awareness as you progress. And so for me, this is kind of just feeling the energy itself to a large degree. But as you do it more, and as you may try other breaths, you may notice a different kind of feeling to the energy. It's not necessarily, like a physical vibration or anything. It's just an energetic one. But you can kind of feel the difference between the sets of words. And as the steps to learning each of the different breaths is the same. You always start with holding the words in your mind as you witness your hearts. Well, I do. You guys, everyone can probably do it their own way. But I learned all of the different breaths the same way, by holding the words in my mind as I breathe, and then getting a feeling for the energy behind the words, and then focusing on that feeling more, and you can slowly drop the words away. It may take a longer time to do that. It took me a lot longer than step 1 did, which we're kind of rushing through everything tonight. So if you guys don't get there tonight, that is absolutely fine. But I find it helpful to kind of know what the next step that we're moving towards is. So let's move on to another piece that might be helpful. And this is kind of just an analogy for what's going on. And this is how I see it. Sometimes it changes, depending on what's going on. There's a lot of different ways that this kind of comes through to me and feels. But this section I titled Your Soul's Song. It says, from your head down to the bottom of your spine is a line of energy flowing through your body. This line of energy is like the strings on a violin, and your breath is like the bow, which is the stick. As you breathe and focus on your heart, the bow, for me, this is how it feels sometimes, and so you can envision this and it might work for you. The bow is being drawn back. Back and forth across your strings within your heart space. With the in-breath, the bow pulls towards your back, and with the out-breath, the bow pushes forwards. The emotion you focus on while you breathe is the specific note being played on the violin strings of your energy. As you focus on gratitude, one beautiful note is played. As you focus on love, another beautiful note is played. Alternating between these creates a slow rhythm that is even more beautiful than either one alone. The vibration of your energy strings continuously emits energy. This is the song of your soul. The song is playing at all times, no matter what you are focused on. If you're trapped in fear or anxiety, that is the song your soul is playing. If your song is sending out notes of gratitude and love to the world, it will have a very harmonious impact, though, and contribute to calm and clarity. Feeling the vibration of your energy strings as the bow moves is how you start to recognize the feeling of gratitude behind the words thank you and the feeling of love behind the words I love you. It's not a physical vibration, but an energetic one. It has a quality of otherness to it that is hard to describe. For me, it also gives a thicker and more weighty feeling to the breaths in my chest as compared to breathing normally. And you guys might experience it completely differently too. We should do some more practice at this point for maybe a longer period of time. So let's close our eyes. And at this point, if you're still working on quieting your mind, you can stay focused on the words. If you can feel the energy, then move towards focusing on that energy. And you can still have the words in your mind as you do it, but focus more on the feeling. All right, here we go. All right, let's open our eyes, but for another moment, continue the breath as you have your eyes open. So just let it transition into just as you kind of looking around and observing stuff, just breathe for another couple moments. So this, once you get used to it, doesn't need to be done in a meditative state. Again, you can be doing it at any moment while listening to someone. So just getting a taste of that. And I do just want to throw it out there that it doesn't have to be the violin. Any instrument that you feel an affinity for can work. You can let the visualization be your own. Through this breath work is how I have had my moments of unconditional love. And it's not constant yet. I'm working towards it. But it's this feeling where just everything that you set your awareness on, you just feel this just love just coming from you towards any topic. Now, it can be really challenging for that to happen because as we experience really tough things in our life, we're just like, why? Why does that happen? And how can I love a challenge or a situation that I'm going through or that has happened in the past because it was so horrible? Now, as you mentioned, all of the experiences that we've had, every experience in our lives, everything has led to this moment and to where we're at now. And this moment and where we're at now is only another place on the journey of where we're going. So while life may be getting better for you in some ways. Chances are it'll continue to progress and likely get better as we go forward. There might be more challenges. There definitely will be. Now, I'll speak to that a little bit too. So this is from my perspective and from things that I've learned, and I can give you some of my sources for some of it if you're interested. But I have this a little bit unique view on challenges and how we come across this stuff. So I'm just going to jump right into it. If you guys have any questions, or if I'm leaving you behind at all, let me know and I can elaborate on any part of it. I firmly believe in and have an understanding of reincarnation. And when we are in between lives, or I don't know when it happens, but when we are not focused into these bodies and experiences, our soul is oftentimes plans out all of our experiences or things that they want to have happen in their life. Now, you might be like, okay, well, why would your soul pick something horrible to happen? And a lot of this it depends on what perspective you're looking at it from. So as a soul, your soul knows that there's no fear of death. There's if your body dies, then there's no big deal. And your soul has all of these experiences that it wants to learn. Your soul is all about expanding and learning. And so a lot of the experiences, the tough experiences that we go through in life, are things that your soul may have wanted to learn for one reason or another, or go through to experience to learn something from it. Now, some things like just loss. Loss is a really hard one to deal with at all times. But let's go with addiction. That one's a little bit easier to talk about. So let's say that there is an addiction. Let's say you might be addicted to drinking. Now, your soul might have planned that experience so that you can go through it, and then once you learn to beat the addiction, you have that experience in your body and in your energy. Now, the interesting thing about energy is we really need to talk about energy more in general as a society, but it works differently than we often think. And if we have healed an experience, and again, this is something I have sources for if you want, but if we have healed an experience, us being around others shares that energy, can be called a key or a healing key, shares that healing key with other people. So if you have healed from the addiction of drinking alcohol, and you go and are around people who are having that trouble, and you are being your love energy self, and possibly even using this breath or whatever, you are helping them just by being around them and having that healing energy key. So if you think about a lot of the worst experiences, yes, it's hard to see what it might be for. It might, it's hard to see, okay, well, where is this going? Because we're in the middle of the experience, and, that's part of it. But down the line, I would say it's guaranteed, because your soul has had you live through these experiences for a reason. It's not just for nothing. It's all building towards something that you want at a soul level. So for me, I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to help people learn all about spirituality and being present, and dealing with and living through really difficult situations and being present in the moment and accepting everything as it happens. And because I want to do that, life has put me through extremely challenging situations where I've had to just focus and study and practice and practice and practice and practice, because 3 years ago, I was an extremely angry person. I was unhappy about everything. I was, railing against this and that, and not accepting the situation I was in. I had, lost my job, wasn't able to find more employment, and I was in a challenging home situation that I didn't feel was fair, and at the time, and learning, a lot of my start came from the power of now, but learning how to be present in the moment and how to accept everything as it is, and again, there's a whole process to that, has been really long and challenging, but it has gotten me to where I want to be at a soul level, and in a way that I didn't even know that I wanted that before. My original career and what I traditionally worked in was software quality assurance. Woo, so exciting. And it's something that I never felt true value in. And this work here, I do feel true value in. So, this breath work can help with part of that. It can help you to feel and get in touch with your love energy. And it can help you to listen as well. It's not going to do all of it, obviously. I've done a bunch of studying and a bunch of different books and tons of practice. But this breath work will help, and it will help you to love yourself and the journey along the way. To speak directly to feeling like you're playing dodgeball for your whole life, let's try and shift perspectives a little bit on this. And so imagine that you're your soul before you're born into this incarnation. And you have a plan. You want to be able to build something or help people with something, or in many ways, this life that we're living now is the culmination of thousands of previous lives. So it could just be the final lesson that you wanted to learn. So your soul is like, okay, I need to do this in order to achieve my big thing. Now, the universe, everything around us, to my understanding, is all the body of God. And it is all made out of love energy. Now, God, our creator, our source, however you want to call it, doesn't matter. The specific word doesn't matter. Source wants to do everything it can to help us to achieve what we want to achieve. And it knows what your soul wants, what your soul has had planned out. And so through the difficult lessons and the difficult challenges of life, it may feel like none of it is love, but when your soul is wanting that, when your soul is wanting to learn these lessons, and it's asking for that, how could Source do anything but give us the opportunity to learn that lesson? And the interesting part about it is that we all have these custom learning plans. And, if we fail to learn a lesson, we'll get another opportunity to learn that lesson. The universe gives us as many opportunities to learn the lessons that our soul is yearning to learn until we do, and then we can move forward. And so, to me, this is kind of how karmic cycles, if you want to call it that, work, and how we can collapse those karmic cycles and move past them. Is if we pay attention to every opportunity that we're given, if we pay attention to everything that the universe is providing for us to learn from, and learning all of our lessons as we go, we don't have to repeat the lessons. and then we can move forward towards the big thing that we're working on. Coming up soon, us as souls are going to have a lot more to celebrate about, I think. From my understanding, we are all moving towards the culmination of many of our efforts. And so while it is extremely tough at this time, we're in a big push towards all of our goals. Right now, everything is getting shaken up, broken loose, and all the stuff that we're not wanting to let go of, we're being shown all of that stuff so that we can let go of it. And as a society, it is, there's going to be some pretty tough challenges between here and, the big celebration, but we're going to make it. I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a question of how quickly. Yes, and a lot of that is perspective. It's what the angle that you're looking at things from. Mm-hmm. So, for example, let's talk about murder, because you brought that up. That's a great one. So, for example, a lot of souls have actually signed up in the past and present, signed up for the experience of being murdered, because it gives you, again, much like the alcohol example, it gives you this extreme pain and circumstance that your soul can heal from, and then you can use that knowledge, that healing energy imprint, and help other people who have experienced similar traumas. So not all of it, I don't know, I can't guarantee that all of it has been signed up for at every point in Earth's history, but I do know that frequently that is something that souls will sign up for. And it's for that experience and for that ability to help heal that pain in other people at a later time. And so it's really weird to think about that. But what this also means is that if I, as a soul, wanted the experience of being murdered, I might go to my other soul friend and go, hey, can you really do me this huge solid and murder me? Yeah, you need someone to murder you. And so maybe they also had an experience that they were looking for like that. When you view everything as from a soul's perspective, it changes a lot, because everything that happens in a life is all experiential, and none of it is threatening. I'm going to throw out there real quick that in these situations, and especially with someone that you're dealing with frequently, it can change the situation in what I would describe magical ways to send love to, as she asked, do you just excuse the person in the act? Well, I mean, it depends on the act. Obviously, if we're talking about something severe like murder, you might want to try and help stop the murder in progress. But if we're not going that extreme, if we're just talking about, someone being extremely rude or doing something that you asked them not to do or whatever, like just a challenging situation, if you use this breathwork tool and breathe in gratitude, and as you breathe in, you feel, thank you for all of these lessons that I'm learning right now. Thank you, universe. Thank you, other soul who's participating in this with me. Thank you, and I love you. Because as souls, we, to my understanding, and again, sources for this too, but the earth experience is the only place that we don't know who we are. This is the only place that we are not aware of our love energy identity. Every other, and this is coming from channeled information that I didn't channel, but it's from a channeler on YouTube, and she has a lot of experience channeling, and she was channeling the spirit, or the light being Pele, that once incarnated as Pele, And so it's a light being with a very high perspective on things. And this earth, and how she states it, is an experiment. It was an experiment to see, we'll just get into it. It was an experiment to see a couple of different things, one of them being, if we started with a blank slate and we didn't know who we are, would we find love? Would we find the source and choose it? Now, in order for this experiment to be a success, we needed to be some soul needed to be able to achieve awareness of the other side of awareness, and then come back and remain conscious of that. So that has happened with a lot of the masters, Jesus type of people who have fully realized and then are able to live in their human body. But this being an experiment, this is the only place that we don't know who we are. And the funny thing about that is that if you think about it, and this is to a degree a closed experiment too, after it started, it's the core group of souls that were involved are the ones who are going to finish it out. We're all very closely knit on a soul level. We have all experienced thousands upon thousands of lives together. And so when I've gotten to this point to where when I see anyone or anyone at all, I just am so grateful to them and love them so much, because they are a soul here with me in this experience. And it's a hard feeling to describe. Okay, we got a half an hour left. So what I would like to do at this point is let's talk about some of the other breaths. So thanks, love is the base breath as far as I'm concerned. To me, it continues the understanding of this practice. It continues you getting more in touch with your love energy self, getting more in touch with source, because source is love energy, and that's the love energy that's coming through you. In fact, I will mention really quick, one of the biggest ways that I get my messages and my understandings is by meditating and then using this practice for a while, and you can feel your energy level raising up as you do the thanks love breath. And as you progress, you can let your attention shift to things that you're thankful for and that you love, much like was mentioned earlier. But what I do to get most of my understandings is I'll raise my energy level in meditation, and then sit as quietly and as still as possible. Stop with the focus on the emitting, love, and just listen. Listen with your whole body. Listen to any experience or feeling or anything that's happening at all anywhere, and just listen. And so when I do that, I raise my energy up and then just listen, I tend to get a lot of messages or understandings that way. So that's a really good use of it. Be, give is the next one I have listed. This one I learned from the stars, and it's a lesson about the sun. And the sun is, and the sun gives. That is one of the core essences of the sun. And if the sun didn't give for even a moment, can you imagine the backlash and the absolute destruction that would hit the earth from that stopping and starting of the sun's energy? It would be devastating. So to me, what this was when I learned it was a proof that it is possible for us to constantly give love energy, to constantly you can be and you can always give. And so what I focus on the in breath for be is just existing, just being, and that's all you ever technically have to do, because even if your body is dead, you're still being. You're still spirit. And so on the in-breath, just be, just relax, just exist, allow everything to be okay as it is now. And then on the out-breath, give, it's just this subtle, just releasing and pushing outwards. Not of anything specific, but you can just feel this giving, this pushing out. Thanks be is another one that I learned, and this one wasn't from anything specific. You're taking everything in, you're thanking the universe for it, and then you're just being. It's a little bit more calm than thanks love because there's no output. You don't have to worry about that. This is kind of more of a recovery breath in some ways because it's just taking in and then just existing, and then taking in and then just existing. Sorry, forgive was it's one that I learned when there's this concept of an internal garden. And it's often in witchy stuff and shamanic stuff. I haven't been able to reach mine yet, but I have learned some things from the concept, and this is one of them. I was trying to make help my internal garden to grow, and the bee give, I was using that to give it sun, because gardens need sun, but it was too dry. And it was also that, there's a lot of gunk there before you go through all your stuff. And so this one, the Sorry Forgive, started out as partially the Ho'oponopono practice, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That's a pretty popular one. It starts off with, there's like 4 sections. Yeah, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Now, I love that concept, but the please forgive me never struck me right. And that's just me, but it has never struck me right because partially you're giving your power to someone else in that you're asking for their forgiveness. And for me, whenever I'm asking someone for their forgiveness, it's this thing in me needs their forgiveness to be okay. And so that was kind of like iffy to me. But then there's also another part where it's asking them to do something. I think we're all kind of going in the same direction here because where I ended up with this breath is sorry, forgive, but that forgive is forgiving. It's the act of you forgiving both, or whatever your subject is. So forgiving yourself, forgiving the other people, and even in situations where it's like you might not think there's anything to forgive of someone, you can forgive them of what you put onto them. Any perceptions or any past hurts that you're holding on to that, even if they were intentional or not, you can forgive them of what you put onto them. And the act of forgiving yourself and them, it does wonderful things, and it is very much like a cleansing rain. And I had this moment when I was doing this breath that I was forgiving everyone else, and then I felt like there was this just giant spotlight, just boom. And it was this kaleidoscope through me that you are forgiven in the same way. You are forgiven for everything at all times. And it made me tear up. It made me, it was such a strong feeling. And so, yeah, so moments like that can happen as well in these meditations. A lot of these ones beyond the thanks love, I learned while going through specific circumstances that these breaths helped me to process and to move past and through. Same with forgive love. Forgive love is another one that I started, these actually are somewhat paired in a way. I started with the sorry, forgive, and then at a certain point it felt like, okay, I don't need to say I'm sorry anymore. I don't need to apologize anymore. And then at that point I moved on to forgive love. And then you're still continuing the forgiveness because everyone could use more forgiveness. But then you're adding in the love, which is kind of like a better follow-up to the forgiveness. It really kind of helps it to go. Be welcome, another one real quick, is one that I learned from meditating with trees. And this one I've mentioned to you before is the breath of non-resistance. And to me, this is why I have a strong association of non-resistance to trees, with trees. Because as you meditate, you can focus as you breathe in on be, just existing, and everything's okay, and I can just exist, and that's all I have to do. And then as you breathe out, welcome. You welcome everything that's happening in your experience, everything that's crossing your awareness. And if you consider a tree does not care about bugs. It doesn't care about a woodpecker. It doesn't care about someone building a nest in it. It is there doing its thing and willing to be helpful to anyone that wants to use it for whatever purpose. So this to me is the breath of trees, is existing and welcoming anything and everyone into that existence for whatever purpose. And this also can help with just, any challenging situation, any time that you're feeling resistance, this breath can help you to open up and kind of welcome the situation and the challenge, and to kind of accept it as, a learning experience. And, just all I have to do is exist and make it through this, and it'll be all right. So that has helped me a lot with non-resistance. The I ams, I'm not going to cover specifically. I'll cover a little bit. I think these are best to explore on your own to a degree. But the I am is very much like be, in that it's about existing, but it is more expansive than just the be. It is not only existing right here, right now, but it is I am. I always have existed. I have, or, however long you have. Because apparently new souls are still being born. But as you breathe in, it's just focus I, and then just am. And then it's just this kind of, that's why I think it's best to explore yourself, because it's so hard to describe. That's it's such an interesting thing to always circle back to. We are exactly who we need to be in this moment. And in fact, everything is actually perfect. It's so weird to think about that. But in these meditations, you might have a moment where, and doing this is where I had my realization of the perfect now. But you might have this just understanding, this feeling, this flood of, wow, everything is perfect. And it's such a weird feeling. But to continue the I ams real quick, once you kind of get a feeling for the base I am, and again, I would encourage you to explore that on your own, then there's some ones with additions where you can move the I am just into the in-breath, and that's kind of you expanding and taking in and feeling that I amness, and then I am something. So I am love is a really powerful one by itself. I am, and with that love, you feel that same love emanation as the thanks love breath. It's the same love. So I am love, but doing it in that combo is just different. And then I am infinite. With that one, you feel the boundlessness of existence and the universe and your awareness. Your awareness, when you really feel into it, there's no line. There's no, I can't, it's all more fluid than that. So I am infinite. You feel the expansiveness. And real quick, I am love and I am infinite. You can start with those, and then down at the combos at the bottom, that's where the name I am infinite love came from. is you can start with love and then practice infinite, and then you combine that to I am infinite love, and as you breathe that out, you feel the endless expansiveness as you emanate love to all of it. And it is, I mean, I'm feeling the energy of that as I'm just talking about it. Like that is, as soon as I came across that one, I knew that's what this tool was named. I didn't pick the name. I just knew that was the name. And actually, this is a great moment to talk about that. It feels like a really clunky name because, I am infinite love breathwork. Like, that's really long. But the reason why it is that way is because every time you even think about it, it reminds you of who you are deep down, your deepest level. You are love. And not only that, you are infinite love. And so it reminds us of who we are. It can help us with using it in everyday situations because it helps us to stay focused on that love as well. So that combo is very powerful. The I am blank. So that one, I experienced it as this is the void. This is the nothingness. This is, we all come from source, which is the void, which is no thing. It's the unmanifested. And we are a part of that as well, just as, we are a part of source. And so that's what this one, the I am blank, is about, is feeling I am, and then it's like, this is a clunky explanation, but in Photoshop, I use graphics programs. In Photoshop, let's say you have a square in there, and you can select that square. Well, then there's this key called inverse selection, which is Control-Shift-I. At least it was when I used it. And what that does is, okay, you have this square selected. Now, inverse selection selects everything that you didn't have selected before, and it ignores what you had selected. So this I am blank is like that. It's like, okay, I feel all of these energies and everything that are flowing through me, but I am not those necessarily. I'm the awareness that is experiencing those. And that is the inverse selection. So you can kind of focus on your awareness itself rather than any of the feelings. I am peace. That one's a little bit self-explanatory, but that one is also very calming. And I am one is when you really start to feel that unity and that oneness with other souls and your experience here on earth and everything else. I am one can really give you this cohesive experience. It's very, very interesting. Okay, so we covered the breaths. Do you guys have any questions about those or any of them that you want me to elaborate more on? It's a great call out. And whenever something arises in meditations in general, but especially with the I ams, if something arises that's uncomfortable or it's hard to ignore or it's really kind of in your face or in your mind, that might be something that your awareness is being drawn, the attention of your awareness is being drawn to it so that you can learn from it and or process whatever that is. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I think it's important for us to have a place or a way to speak to all the things that we've been learning, because it's all just in there and it's just itching to get out and to be talked about and shared, in some way with others. Like that's how I feel, and thank you all for being here, because this is a big moment for me to share exactly, what I've been going through. Yeah. One more thing real quick that I wanted to touch on before opening it up to more questions or comments is step 3, which is exploring. And step 3 is all about finding new breaths too, because the ones that I have found and that work for me and that I've experienced feels like such a small amount of what could potentially be used with this practice. I just am the only one who's, really tracking and writing this stuff down right now. But as you practice this and explore and leave your intuition open to different breaths as you are going through different experiences in life, you may find your own that aren't listed on this sheet that are incredibly helpful to you. So I would like to encourage you guys, as you get more experience, to leave your intuition open to other possibilities that aren't here, because I am very confident there's a lot more. Thank you guys for all being here, and thank you for all your contributions. It has been wonderful.